basically depositing on this bank, you get a deposit rate via the market rates, with people borrowing your assets, and they're paying a yield, right? So let's look at DAI. If you're a depositor for DAI, you're making 8% right now. That means, it's just sitting there. You're not in a liquidity pool. You're not suffering any sort of, impermanent loss. Like say there's market volatility. And let's say the bridge stable pool on PHUX has low liquidity for DAI at one particular moment because somebody's trading a bunch of it or something like that, right? Whereas on fiat, your assets are there. There's no impermanent loss in terms of people trading at the time. What you could have is people borrowing a bunch of it at once for a duration, right? So you could incur that, but you're making money. You're making a lot more money when that's happening.
Is that because we talked about single-sided staking before, where we have it on PulseChain, kind of, not advertised as such, but this is essentially, is this the highest single-sided staking you can get with coins, with, select coins on PulseChain right now that you've seen?
That's a great analogy. Like this is basically single-sided staking. Yes. If you look at your bank deposits at a regular bank as single-sided staking, your dollars, this is it, right? This is single-sided staking. And yeah, I mean, there's other pools on PHUX that actually has it says almost single-sided staking. It's 95% PulseX versus like 5% Pulse or something, right? So your impermanent loss is like nothing, especially since they move in tandem anyways, and you're just earning PHUX, right? But with this, you're earning more of the tokens that you've deposited. So if you're depositing for DAI on fiat, you're earning more DAI. If you're depositing USDC, USDT, you're earning more of those tokens. If you deposit Pulse and PulseX, you're getting Pulse and PulseX, right? Because people, go ahead.
I just want to ask on that too. Well, yeah, please finish on what people are doing, but I just want to talk about the APYs too, and why some are more than others, and why that changes. I think it kind of leads into what you're saying.
Yeah. So right now, you can notice that the available for deposits on, or the room, or the available liquidity that you're able to deposit on fiat with Pulse, PulseX, and Hex is full, right? So there is actively a land grab going on for any inch of space that becomes available on fiat, because it is very valuable to have an open line of credit going into the bull run, right? So let's imagine a scenario where we already had the bottom. It was like last month or something, right? And you start taking out a little bit of loans here as time goes on, and your assets appreciate. Well, you don't have to, you can take out these loans. You don't have to worry about paying them back right away. You can defer it out, for a long period of time into maybe the top of the bull run, where then you can start selling, just small portions relative to how much you borrowed now, right? And then you pay it off at whenever you're ready. Okay. And the whole time that's happening, when you're speculating, this is, you're speculating on the price when you're taking out these loans, but this whole time you're paying fees to the depositors, which is what I was just talking about, and the platform itself, right? So roughly half of the fees that are generated on this, gets paid to the stakers. So it's a nice little economy that we got going on here on fiat. But I would say the most lucrative way to make money with fiat at the moment would be depositing stablecoins. As you can see, people love borrowing stablecoins. They're willing to pay, for USDT, 35% APY to borrow USDT, right? They're willing to pay 22% APY to borrow DAI, right? And as a depositor, you're making 13% on your USDT, okay? You're making 8% on your DAI, right? And it's just sitting there.
Why is that? Why is it it's just people they just don't want to borrow PLS. They don't want to borrow Hex nearly as bad as they want to borrow stables. Like, what makes the deposit APY go up and down?
Some people are running their businesses with this, right? So they're taking out loans against their crypto, whether it's Pulse or PulseX, Hex, whatever it is, or even ETH or Bitcoin, right? And they don't want to sell it. So what they do is they basically have, business credit where they're pulling out funds that they need to fund their businesses. Like Coast does that on here. They're big client on fiat.
How does that? So how does, what are they doing, or what is a scenario where they would use that? Or, I mean, not that I'm not saying you have to know what they're doing in particular, but a business in general, how would they fund their business? Why would they use fiat to do that? Like, how exactly would they do that?
Yeah, so I mean, if somebody needs to do payroll or something, right, and you're making money and in your business, right, but you need, and it's not like a constant recurring income, right? So you use credit to revolve, or to use your credit to pay your payroll on time, right? Whereas your income is, it takes time for your debtors to pay you or whatever, like you need to finish a job or whatever, right? Like say you're a subcontractor or something, right? And you're finishing 2 houses, okay? But you're paying your employees while you're building the house, but you're getting paid at the end of the job, okay? Well, you're going to get the money because you're going to finish the job, right? But until then, you have to borrow something so you can pay your employees so they continue building the house, right? So same thing here. If you have your assets on here, you can have your line of credit open. You can borrow the assets you need and then pay them off when you get paid, right? And that's basic functions of
So
a bank.